Many people know that the algorithm goes through likes and shares and engagement, but the thing that they miss, the second part of the algorithm that people don't know about. You need to not niche down, but contextualize your library into branches. Once you're consistently able to put out content, and you can do it in batches that Google can categorize, it makes it easier for the algorithm to send it to the right people who want to see your stuff in the first place. People don't care about your personal interests if they don't care about you. I went from about 300 or 400 followers up to almost 40,000 followers in less than 3 weeks, just on consistency. Consistency isn't the process of posting something and anything any day. Consistency is the process of learning how to improve the quality and quantity of the projects you're putting out in order to batch ideas faster, to get them done faster, but to be able to do proficiently and at a higher level each time. Your page isn't failing simply because of the algorithm. You're just not consistent enough. Last year, I was listening to a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk, and Gary's real big on the social media space and how the marketing and the algorithm works. And one thing I learned listening to him is that the algorithm works through shares, likes, and engagement. So what you have is you post a video, that video gets sent out to 100 people. If out of those 100 people, like 60, 70% don't stay on the video for a certain amount of time, 3 to 5 seconds click rate, they don't share it, they don't like it, they don't comment, that video isn't shared as much to the next group of people. It may get shared down to 50, 40, 30, 20, 10 people until, the algorithm is no longer sharing it at all. However, if you can get the engagement to have 60 to 70% people that are watching it for 3 to 5 seconds, all of a sudden what you find then is that it gets shared again, shared again, shared again to another 100, another 100, another 100, until you start to build views on that. So a lot of people don't get to that point because the second part of the algorithm that people don't know about. Many people know that the algorithm goes through likes and shares and engagement, but the thing that they miss is that it also goes through how Google organizes and categorizes information. See, because YouTube has been bought out by Google, Google is the world's #1 search engine. YouTube is now the world's #2 search engine. That means people are coming there for informational content to know how to do something. The moment your car breaks down, you run to YouTube and ask what's wrong with it and how to fix it because you want a better visual process of what's going on and how you can handle this problem. YouTube is a very good space for that. Many of you don't have enough informational knowledge on one subject for the algorithm to be able to contextualize your information. They can't put it in a box and say, hey, this is magic. Hey, this is engineering. Hey, this is science. This is math. This is comedy. Because you have so many different things and you have so many different ideas, but none of them are congruent upon making you the authority on one subject. So then a lot of you don't get monetized and you can't get to that 1,000 subscribers simply because you don't have a box of information that somebody can binge and watch. So you have to just start mass creating content kind of in sections. So this is the thing. It's not that you necessarily have to niche down. You don't need to niche down to one thing, but you have to have a library of information all about one subject in sections. So you may do a 6-part video series on engineering. You may do a 6-part video series then on your favorite cars or the most luxurious cars in the world. You may do a 6-part video series on, these different things. But once you have enough information, like a branch on a tree, right? So the tree is that you're going to talk about the automotive industry. But in order to build branches on the tree, they have to kind of be congruent with each other. You can't jump from the best Lamborghinis in the world to how to fix your gasket, how to change your exhaust pipe, and then jump to Husqvarna bikes. You have to build the tree up and let it grow with the context of the content. So if you want to start on automotives, you pick a section, not a niche, a section of it. So you may then start with tires. You may cover things that have to do with tires. You may cover the best snow tires. You may compare different tire brands. You may compare different automotive businesses that sell tires and their prices, but you kind of stick to this area. And then once you've got authority in that area, then you move on to the next subject. Then you move on to different specs, to luxury interiors, whatever your idea may be. You're not really limited by the idea, you're limited by the context of the library. But then you build that library out. Then you can move past cars at some point. Maybe you've made 50 videos about cars now because you started in the automotive industry. So maybe you want to talk about purchasing. Maybe you want to talk about, once you're consistently able to put out content and you can do it in batches that Google can categorize. It makes it easier for the algorithm to send it to the right people who want to see your stuff in the first place. If you have a video with your favorite song lyrics, and then you have a video with your workout program, and then you have a video about how you just made $500 with a side gig, and then you're jumping around topics, Google doesn't even know who to send your stuff to for the right eyes to view it. So most of the time it gets sent to an audience base that has no interest in the thing, because it's sending a library of books to people who don't read that type of book. So you need to not niche down, but contextualize your library into branches. You need to find a branch on the tree that you want to take over and get authority in, and gain authority there before you start to move to your personal interests. People don't care about your personal interests if they don't care about you. But in order for them to watch you long enough to care about you, you have to have enough content to do so. If you look at all the time in your content, like a lot of different content creators, they do shorts. And because shorts are usually 30 to 90 seconds, even if you have 100 shorts and they're all 30 seconds, you don't actually have that many hours of content. Somebody who puts out a 20-minute video once a week still has more content than the person with 130-second shorts, right? So over time, you have all this bingeable content because you're doing this long form videos, and people will sit down for 6-7 hours and binge your content, compared to the person where they'll flick through the shorts and yeah, they like you, but you're easily forgettable. You haven't done anything memorable. People don't sit down and turn on their TV, eat popcorn, cook, clean the dishes, and vacuum their house while listening to you. The content isn't long enough. They can't really sit down and take in what you're doing. So a lot of the decline of your page is because of inconsistent posting and lack of progression into a storyline where you're teaching about a thing, right? Once you've established that, then you can establish other things. The other big thing is, when I first had my first viral post, it was a bit of luck, right? It was a picture where I had a comparison between Cardi B and Rihanna, and there was two pictures side by side, and I asked, well, which one of these artists do you think is better and which one is prettier? And of course, people argued all over it, and that's because there were two very hot artists. It was a hot topic at the time. It went up to like 35,000 shares, but I couldn't duplicate the process at that time because I hadn't studied why it worked. In order for a lot of content to work, you have to have content that is a little bit provocative. You want it to signal some kind of emotional reaction from the people. You want it to be something that people can have a debate, an argument, or a conversation about. So the very next time I had content that went viral, it did about like 3 million views, was content I made where I questioned the existence of the supernatural, showing videos and images that made it questionable to wonder if the supernatural was real, by having a dialogue about how people will see something with their own eyes and they will rationalize it away. Now, of course, many people fled to the comments with, this is fake video footage, this is that, but it created a conversation where one half is like, I believe in it, and the other half is like, no, I don't. But in order to do that, you have to get to a point where you're able to tell the story from a lens that allows conversation at the same time, right? Now, the very last thing I'll say about making content and being able to make it profitable is that you can't simply choose content to try to monetize the content. One of the most important things is it has to be something that you can talk about fluently without having to worry about if you know enough about it. If you find yourself stuck always in the research phase, you don't have a research team, it's just you doing all the work. You're going to get burnt out trying to constantly do everything yourself, to research the topic, learn about it, try to figure out some kind of script, try to figure out what you're going to try to say. Like, I've been through it, trust me, trying to create content about something I'm not too familiar with, but it interests me. Instead, what's easier is to talk about things you already know, and then to build up your, I guess you could say, database of information, and teach and learn as you go. As you learn things, you teach them. And that's the easiest way to do them because they're fresh on your mind, as opposed to trying to recall information that you tried to study for 8 hours. Instead, you choose information that you already have context of, and you build upon that information as it grows because you're already good at it. And then you hire people in, or you find people that can match the desired need of the other things you want to talk about. Those are the people you bring in to have conversations. Those are the people you bring in that can spark new ideas and interest for you and for your audience. And that's kind of how these bigger brands build. The camera quality, the background ambience, all of those things will come into time as you make money, and as you're able to grow, you can buy and build these things. But you have to have a starting point. And if your starting point comes from a space of worry that I don't have enough and I'm not ready, you're never gonna never have enough, and you're never gonna be ready. I had a YouTube page for almost 10 years before I was able to hit my 1,000 subscribers. And when I decided to buckle down, I hit that 1,000 subscribers in less than 90 days. When I decided to buckle down on my Facebook and start posting every day, I went from about 300 or 400 followers up to almost 40,000 followers in less than 3 weeks, just on consistency. And I was somebody that believed you had to get lucky, you had to hit the algorithm, you had to go viral. Turns out you don't actually need any of those things. And when I say consistency, consistency isn't the process of posting something and anything any day. Consistency is the process of learning how to improve the quality and quantity of the projects you're putting out in order to batch ideas faster, to get them done faster, but to be able to do proficiently and at a higher level each time. If you can consistently put out videos that get better, but at the same time do them faster, you scale exponentially quicker. So I think I've covered kind of everything I want to cover in this video topic for today. I look forward to kind of hearing y'all's comments, what y'all think, what y'all like me to cover on this page. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the page, and continue to follow along with Relic Stone for more informational tutorials and tips. Thank you.